you know what? We'll work on it. We'll talk in the background about possible onomatopoeias if we want. But let's get underway with Kafe Dostoyevsky. TSM will be starting on attack. They won map number 1, Empire. They did not win map number 1, even though they chose it. They're going to be starting on defense. They take the Ying out of action right away.
Interesting. Let's see if they actually end up banning the Echo like the analyst that spoke about just recently. And TSM first, of course. They will have to choose the Wamai, so something that we've been seeing kind of creeping up in the ban rate here at the 6 Invitationals of 2022. It's something that teams just don't want to deal with because you can come out there with the Jaeger and their Rooney, and it's hard to clear out certain positions. The Mira gets banned out. That means that the Echo is left up on the board, and not just the Echo, but so is the Valkyrie. So information is readily available for both teams when they're on the defensive side. And looking back at Clubhouse, there was a massive amount of intel missing when Empire was on the defense, and they can now rectify that and change that situation. Whereas with TSM, you're looking good before. If you can add information into that game where they played the pose before on Merc, well, you're probably going to be looking as hot as you did previously. And the final interesting point was what Fresh brought up was, well, Team Empire aren't necessarily very good at attacking those tertiary bomb sites, those like pocket strat bomb sites. And TSM, when they get to the defense, let's see if they actually end up playing mining a lot, because that's not something that we see very often across domestic play.
Round number 1. First defense, Nick, upstairs, cocktail. This bomb site doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room with map control. There was a brief period of time where you saw teams foregoing cocktail, instead going down to kitchen first, or even onto reading first, because this top floor acts as a bit of a buffer. When you're attacking the 2 middle floor bomb sites, as you talked about mining, and the other bomb site reading, you almost always want to have one of the attackers upstairs. On the defensive side, you want 2 to 3 defenders upstairs. When you look at a cocktail execute from teams, they're going to clear top down, but that is effectively just the skylight. The defenders are not often going to peek the skylight unless they're really feeling it. Outside of that, the attackers are going to want to take red, they're going to want to take piano, and then they'll take that middle floor. Try and grab control of pillars, try and grab control of white stairs, punish the defenders sitting in that spot, and leave the defenders sitting in the back bar and cocktail portions of the map before the execute can happen. That's if things go well, of course, for the attackers.
Yeah, and things might not always go well. And well, one thing is the clock. We gotta keep an eye on that because half a minute has already been burnt. We saw Valkyrie camera from Cypher outside the building. They will stay alive the entire round. The change for the disable after 5 seconds is not in the game yet, but will be very soon in year 7, as we saw earlier on that reveal. Sorry if I spoiled that for you, but that is coming in the near future. One Valkyrie camera from Merc has been shut out, and that's very nice. And we have to see how they're going to be dealing with this stages ahead of them. The thing about Team Empire's setup right now is that they're not holding Pixel, they're not holding Piano, so TSM actually have a very straightforward first half of the round in front of them because there's no obstacles. They're playing far back and they're playing below on that second floor, so that means that, well, vertical, C4s, etc., vertical damage from Team Empire, that's what they want to play around, and TSM have to now figure out, well, do they challenge the situation or do they not? We see Merc in the basement. It's usually going to signify that, yes, TSM have read the situation, they want to challenge, gain ground. Yellow ping comes out, and Bolo can now comfortably walk on in as they have information.
This is going to be a duel to the death, and Joystick is being the one called into action. They know he's there, and he can capitalize off of this, but Bolo gets away. That's Merc, actually, not Bolo. Joystick might have missed his golden opportunity, and if Merc has a good set of in-ears, could he have heard at the bottom of Brown Stairs the one roamer from Empire?
That's really an unfortunate situation if you're a Joystick, but it happens, and now we see TSM, they have taken piano control. That's the one thing that normally is an obstacle, but right now that's Joystick who gets away with half HP.
Curious where that bullet hit. Must have been a shoulder peg onto him as Joystick gets away from that. Weaker, as you talked about. A nice line being drawn into the bathroom. Is there somebody there to watch it? No. Empire fallen off of that position at the top of white. That's where Dan went, but he doesn't want to potentially engage. ADS is getting burned out now. As Achieved is on rappel, still looking towards white, nades in hand. Scyther heading back up top, he takes some damage, and now there's the Finca of Bolo still on this Scyther hunt, but they're on a different part of the map now. Down goes Achieved, Scyther with the kill and the MPX in hand. Bolo tossed out a nade to eat the last ADS. He'll go fishing inside of the bathroom. Could have flushed TSM's chances down the toilet if Bolo screws up. Well, there's a nice kill from Dan on the run out. He'll head from home. This leaves a 3v3 on the bomb site, by the way. That becomes a 2v3, but now always punished. Merc has control of Cocktail. Gio's got the diffuser in hand, but he gets taken out by Joystick. Blind spots from TSM. Unaware of where these Empire players are. Merc with 4 seconds left. On a wing and a prayer, as they would say. And the first round of map 2 goes to Empire.
What an absolutely messy round. So it starts off with both teams fighting in the basement and nothing really happens from it. And then while TSM, they go back upstairs, they clear out utility, they set up the execute, so to speak. Achieve then goes back downstairs into the garage to try and stop the vertical play from Empire and those C4s. Well, it didn't go out that way. Achieve gets shot down from Shepard, and then front 4 from that. Well, it's just TSM getting really unfortunate, right? We saw a player on the white stairs started sprinting, and the same moment he started sprinting, Cypher actually in the basement, not Shepard. Well, he died. Dan jumped down, punished Shala on the rappel, and with that timing, well, TSM, they push forward. They know there's one player off the bomb side, but Shepard, inside of Freezer, just held down the fort, and that means that TSM could not find their way in. Gio started sprinting, Joystick got a free kill, and that's that. First round for Team Empire. That's top floor successfully defended, and Reading is now up next.
So again, we're going to see TSM's focal point be that top floor. Even though there's no bomb site present on it, you know how crucial that is. Because if you're looking at a reading take, you want to sledge or a buck over in Cocktail, which is where you see the right side of your screen. Take out some of those floor panels, drop grenades down in the default plant spot, which is by the bookcase in B-bomb. You as a sledge want to hold that line so that if a defender goes to swing, you can pick them off ahead of time, because the default spot for a lot of these players is on that second floor, if you can show, down inside of Laundry. Instead, we're going to look as to where these Valkyrie cameras are going. Scyther still has one left. Bear no mind to the player cam, by the way. That's not Scyther.
It's changed his visuals. It happens sometimes. We've seen some...
It's an imposter. He's on the wrong team, Nick.
They are colluding. Is that the word? Colluding?
Colluding. That is correct.
Yeah, there it is. They're colluding, trying to figure out, how can we get the favor here? Maybe we swap one player from TSM to Empire, we share the strats, and now it gets really exciting because we all know each other's approaches to the map. But right now, it's going to be TSM, once again, working their way through the top and down, not having any presence really in the basement, besides Bolo just droning out right now. Merc on this balcony, opening up the window and applying pressure. Really keeping Empire guessing where TSM are going to be entering from. And Empire, once again, they have no focus on piano. So when Chala opens up this window, he'll see it's all clear. There's no shield, there's no ADS, there's nothing really. Empire playing a, I would say, different approach to the defensive rounds than most teams typically do, whether you will sit inside a pixel. And it might be because that Wamai has been banned. While Empire might not be comfortable without the Wamai to sit in those corners because they don't feel safe. As TSM, they keep bringing those grenades. 6 this round.
And lots of demolition that can be done with those, getting dropped on the heads of the defenders or blown up from below. First contest is Scyther and Merc. Scyther got the very first kill back in round 1, and Nitro Cell goes out, and Bolo dances around that one, so a second bit of action too. Immediately, a bit of a proactive, a reactive adrenal surge goes out. Merc with 2 kills to his name. He was the lone survivor in that previous round. And, well, he'll sit and wait for now. TSM need to not stall out here. They picked this map. They cannot get outfoxed, but there's a run out from Dan down below. They know they've got another player from Empire isolated. Dan was a slow starter back in map 1, but he's taken a lot of gambles this time. I like that. I like that moxie.
Yeah, with a minute left to go, Empire now falling off that top floor hold. They don't care about that anymore, but they have Valkyrie cameras still, I believe. So that means some bit of information available. And you spoke about the sledge doing that vertical play on the floorboards of Cocktail. That's exactly what TSM will do. They will start setting up the bomb site in preparation for that default plant. Have to drone out pillars, take control, then walk onto the bomb site. Then the vertical play that you see right now becomes extremely vital, because if you can hold down the angle successfully, it should be an easy plant. Meanwhile, down in the basement, here it goes. Gio, out of pace, just starts planting. Bolo tosses the grenade and will cover from now on.
And I don't know if Gio's gonna make it through. Yes, he is, with a hair, and he gets away. First kill goes to Bolo. Merc finds one as well. Shepard, rat-tat-tat, pitter-patter of the MPX. Good enough for 1 kill. Joystick is on pillars as well. TSM still have the advantage. It's Scyther with 1 HP to be finished off from Merc, and Joystick to clutch He's sitting on top of the diffuser. But he needs to be wary because guess who's up top on that top floor? It's the sledge of Achieved. We talked about this in the preamble of the round. You need to hold that top floor if you're a sledge. Achieved does it just like that. And this game now tied up at 1 apiece.
And that's the thing, even if there's only 1 minute left, if you fall off the top floor without getting any sort of advantage, well, you will just start doing the vertical play and walk into side. TSM only needed 25 seconds of setup to just say, we're doing it right now. They did it off pace. And what I mean by that is that typically you can read very easily when someone is going to plant. They want to get all the right angles, get all the right rotations, drone out the right areas, then they go. Normally, that would have been like 10 to 15 seconds later in the round than what TSM just did. But because they did it at an unexpected situation, there was no response from Team Empire. The only thing that could stop them was that Toxic Babe. It was tossed out far too late. And then we saw Bolo push on in, get a kill, trade it back and forth. But as long as TSM holds up top with that vertically playing control, well, the post-plan is so easy for them. And that's why that round looked way easier than it should have been, because TSM only needed 20 seconds to do everything for the setup. Good read by Gio, who's been taking control of these plans and really bringing TSM forward in this last minute of the round.
Well, you cannot lose your footing on your own map. That is the big issue for TSM at this point, as they struggled on round number 1, but picked it up on round number 2. Look at what has presented itself for round number 3. It's a kitchen defense for Empire, and the Lord will grace our screens.
The Lord is in play, combined with the smoke and the yokai, so this is arguably a very bomb deny or plant deny setup for basements. That means that whenever TSM will be attacking, well, if there's not a lot of time left on the clock, you have 3 different ways to deal with Gio trying to get the plant down. So TSM, obviously, they will not know that this exact situation is happening, but you will need to work a little bit faster or be very convincing throughout the second part of the round. That lasts like, 1 minute 32, about 30 seconds left, right before you start planting. If you can gain a lot of control, and I mean, that Terror drone right there just gained control. It cleared the shield, it cleared the ADSs, we're already off to a good start, and Dan has that FMG playing smoke inside our VIP, and already one Toxic Babe has been prepped and prepared, but not popped just yet.
Well, they want to clear out the outside portion around the bomb site. I guess they might have started with good joystick. Goodbye to the Russian Cyborg. Shepard will now get aggressive, maybe to answer that. Over by Whiskey at the bottom of Brown Stairs, but Empire already finds themselves in a 5v4. There's 2 minutes left for TSM to hold that advantage before they execute.
And note that TSM haven't actually done anything this round. They're holding angles from the exterior, and now the angles come out. The Toxic Babe got grenaded out, so it won't be popping out. The flashbang hits perfectly. It's an easy entry for Merc.
And there could be another as well, but always with that LMG, guns down Merc. It's one of the few LMGs on defense. A nice Tachanka kill for you to see. You don't have a smoke present. That was the Dan who died earlier. The best surrogate on this team at the moment is gonna be that Tachanka with the Shumika launcher, and 11 Molotovs still remaining, make that 10. There are Yokais in play for Shepard too. So plenty of planted out, but oh, there goes Shepard. Where did he die from? And now it's always down for the count. Scyther in a 1v3. It's an adrenal surge that got popped by Bolo before he got finished off, and Scyther is in a hopeless position. Upstairs, Nitro Cell to potentially distract, but it does actually work to scare Gio off this plant. He was so close to getting it down. On White Stairs, Scyther's re-entry to the bomb site will be from over inside a freezer. He can't outduel Achieved. Second round in a row, Achieved gets the very final kill. TSM looking in mighty form through these last 2 rounds, and they've now got the lead on their map.
And that momentum, right? The early pick going favor of TSM. They were a Terror drone doing all the damage it needed, clearing out all the ADSs and the shield. That later paid off because one single little flashbang boy bounced off the door frame, completely blinded Dan inside our VIP. And look right here, you just run on in, he cannot fight back, it's super easy, no trade inside, always does find one, but it's just not enough. The yellow ping, the shoulder peeks out, another freebie for TSM. Empire, they're playing the angles a little bit incorrectly here and getting picked apart early, and especially the gunfights. Well, the Russian team of Team Empire has been known to be one of the most fierce teams, especially on LAN, but TSM are looking so good in their individual gunfights. Not just today, not just against Empire, not just against FaZe, but throughout the entire tournament. All 5 players, even though Gio and Chala are both statistically negative in terms of stats, they are really winning their ones.
There was a growing sentiment of the remaining teams that were here, many of whom have now left. Once teams are eliminated, they get on a plane and they go within 48 hours. The Sonics just lost, what is it, 36 hours ago? They left on a plane this morning to go back to North America. So you lose, you quite literally go home. They put you on a plane as fast as is humanly possible. But I asked a lot of the teams, when we saw the final 6, who is the scariest team here? A lot of teams said Liquid, but the scariest team that I heard was FaZe. Team after team said FaZe when they got knocked down to the lower bracket. This is a team that is going to make a tear, and they're going to clean up the lower bracket and make it to the finals. Guess who beat them?
TSM.
And guess who beat them 14-4?
TSM.
Earlier today, TSM not just going into a grueling 3-map contest against FaZe Clan, but they pummel FaZe Clan.
It did.
So here you are. Team Empire got the upper hand. The very first time these two teams met, the rematches almost always seem to favor the team that lost, and TSM today are playing on probably the highest level we've seen since they got to the 6 Invitational.
Yeah, this iteration, this roster with these exact roles that TSM have been brewing in the offseason, putting Geo back on hard support, moving Merc up into the front line on an IGL vocal role. I didn't think it was gonna work, I'll be honest. Like, Geo and hard support makes sense, but I think a lot of people, myself included, were doubting Merc on the IGL entry. But I think this is Merc's best performance in his entire career as an individual, statistically. And then you gotta add on top the fact that he's also providing in-game leadership to his team at the same time. Very few players can do both. He is.
Again, the map control that's being held right now is just off-site. This is another attempt from Team Empire. Upstairs on Cocktail. Half of the round has expired. Nobody's dead just yet. Adrenal surges have gone out, and I'm going to give you another statistic.
Okay.
With the exception of the very final round of Clubhouse, the team that gets the first pick goes on to win it all the time.
Yep.
So that stat, that conversion is proving its value and proving its worth right now. Chala's the first one to take some damage on the side of TSM. It looks like maybe Merc, because he might have lost a little bit of it. But other than that, Empire are sitting quite pretty.
That they are, but there's still not much ground for Empire to have. I mean, they have the bomb site, sure, but no piano presence, no cigar presence. TSM, they own that area of the map. When a minute left, all they gotta do is break through this next wall. They have Merc on the Maverick. He can use the torch, open up the angles. Nate comes out. It's gonna force Empire back inside a bathroom. And this area right here, well, if Empire can swing and get something for their money, that's going to be good. But otherwise, this wall we can open right up.
Oh, and Dan doesn't hear it amidst the chaos and confusion, giving a 30-second window now for TSM to continue to push into the bomb site with the advantage they have. They lose it, though. Polo taken down by Scyther, and now always gets one with Geo 2. So Empire, they gave a lead. Nade goes out. Damage done to Always, but the guns from Empire are hitting their marks. It's a desperate throw in by Achieved. He's been so good in 2 rounds. Can he do more? No, Always says that's quite enough for that one. We're going to take a round of our own. Cocktail proving to be a little bit too impregnable for TSM. Empire will now take both of their defenses on this bomb site. And with the game tied, they're going to need to win on another site for the first time if they want to win this first half.
Nobody on Clubhouse could break the basement attack until OT, and of course, so far, well, TSM have not been able to break that top floor defense either from Team Empire. It looked quite good once they got the opening pick with the Maverick torch that we see right here. Easy pick for Bolo. Dan couldn't even fight back, but you see Bolo sprint into 90, gets shot down, also nice shot onto Cigar player, and then Merc has to vault through a rotate. Diffuser left in Cigar, by the way, for TSM, so even if they got the map control, they were not in a position to plant at all. And Achieved, nice try, but it's not enough. Back to reading we go. Similar start for Empire. They're playing it rather passive, not giving TSM anything, really, or rather giving them everything, because they give them piano, they give them cigar. They don't want to risk dying early on in the round, because Empire, they want to play that 5v5 or 4v4, and so far, well, 50% success rate, right? 2 rounds have gone to either team, so there's not a clear-cut situation of like what's working out in whose favor, but right now we're seeing a change. Empire setting up ADSs in Pixel, setting up a Runic Gate for the double door in Cigar. This signifies a very clear change in their approach to the round. They will now contest TSM on those piano rappels as they're entering into Cigar, and they have the stock shield to follow up as well. So now we gotta see TSM, with the MI being banned from them, can they pick this apart rather easily? They got 3 flashbangs and 6 grenades. All there's gonna be in their path are going to be those 3 ADSs and maybe a single Runic Gate.
These outside Valk cams have been oh so choice, if I can say that.
Sure.
And it's been giving a lot of information to Empire, necessitating this IQ pick to try and figure out where is Empire getting this information from. Info has been the name of the game for Empire in this matchup. Think about it, the amount of bulletproof cameras, the yokais that we've seen from Echo, the Valk cams being just a non-stop presence from Empire. They're tripling up, essentially, on intel, rightfully so. Yeah. And it's really helping them through the mid-round. Even if TSM were simply better on the entry those 2 rounds, it was Empire at least knowing where it was coming from, even if they couldn't handle it.
Yeah, we saw the strength of IQ just there. Chala basically looked through the entire, well, floor, I guess he's on the roof. He looked through the roof, down into the 3rd floor, and saw where the ADSs were. And he can now say, guys, they're holding Pixel. They got 3 ADSs. We gotta clear it out, or we need to avoid it. Good 1 flashbang spent from Skylight, and that's the thing what the IQ can bring. You know exactly how many ADSs will be in each position. So the call is 1 ADS on that stock shield, 1 flashbang goes out. Next call out now comes. There's 2 ADSs inside a Pixel. Geo throws 2 flashbangs and 1 nade will follow. And that is perfect utilization. There it is. 1 gone 6 in fact. So you spent 3 flashbangs and 1 grenade. You've cleared out the entire map that Empire set up through the prep phase.
Well, we don't often talk about value from utility. It seems like with Flores, that's when we really start to get into how much utility is gained, or rather, how much utility is burned from a single gadget on your end. Obviously, Flores not in play at the moment from TSM. They've been favoring this same static lineup. There's a run out from Dan, by the way. Look at the confidence of Empire. Dan has gone for a run out in 3 of these 5 rounds and has been successful in 2 of them. On the biggest stage in the game, you're doing this to TSM.
He wants it, feeling confident despite a messy Clubhouse being it off, and Chala takes a ton of damage. Cypher as well, but they both survive. 45 seconds, reading attack by the way, so vertical play from TSM is coming along nicely. And what can they answer with right now? There are 3 toxic babes in the pocket of Shepard. That's the key player. Dan is now off the board, but as long as Shepard's alive, they can't deny the plant.
Scyther will retake from red stairs. He's only got a tiny bit of HP. First toxic canister goes out. 30 seconds left for the next 2, and another will be burned immediately. Empire trying to blanket the bomb site so that TSM have no way in to get that diffuser planted. It's Geo again. Shepard dodges around an explosion. They've got 1 inside a laundry, shotgun out, and a pump could get another, but he misses. Turned on by Chala. Scyther from above, but still on a tiny bit of HP. Bomb site control now in favor of TSM. It's always to try and stop it, and he sees it. Damage done. He gets back to pillars. It's a reset for these teams. A bit of calmness will go over the bomb site, but Merc decides no, to hell with calm. I want violence, and he finds it. The little that was left of Scyther, gone. Always now with the diffuser. 1/3 of the way gone. He'll wait. The rest of the team will give him intel, playing off of these 2 players of TSM, one of whom still sits in the bomb site, the other above. This top floor control for TSM is so critical, always gives his position away. Diffuser still going down, an almost unwinnable situation, and all it takes is a couple bullets, but TSM don't want to give it to them. They get the clock, they don't know where he is.
Been played.
Merc gets it like a damn fiddle. TSM up 3-2.
The discipline in the 1 versus 2 always had no idea where TSM were. He was so convinced as a player inside a laundry, but no, he got played indeed, and TSM 3-2. They are now in the lead for the first time on Kafe as we're entering round 6. Dan, really good jump out early on. 2 nades off the board, Bolo gone, LMG gone. That nade though from Merc does so much damage, and this kill onto Dan as well. It was such poor timing for Empire once again because, well, when TSM were planting in this corner, always he peeked it 1 second too late. He could not deny the plant and always could not win the 1 versus 2 because TSM played it so well.
I would just like to say, even though we are on a delay, we use tablets to keep track of what's going on in the rounds, and I get now time and time again whenever somebody ats me on Twitter, there's something that'll pop up that'll say, and I'll just see a brief window it. And I just got this right now, and I want to read it out to all of you.
Okay.
Intero, stop talking about the team getting first pick winning. It feels like every time you do that, the team that gets it loses. There have only been 2 times, now 3 times in this entire match where that's happened, and I have brought it up a lot. So no, I will not apologize, and I will not stop doing it. I will keep referencing it. If the team you want is losing, I say to them, simply play better.
Wow. The arrogance, right? Oh, you're tired of losing? Start winning.
You have no right to accuse me of arrogance when you have to correct me, because calling you a 2-time world champ is simply
It's factually incorrect.
You then need me to say, I'm sorry, not just 2-time world champ, back-to-back world champ.
Because technically
Technically, it is correct.
Yeah.
Which is the best kind of correct, Nick. I am technically correct when I call you a 2-time world champ. I am just omitting another part of it.
But you know what, Parker? What's beautiful about the whole champion and back-to-back and 2-time? We will see a new champion at this event. Neither of these teams have ever won a Grand Finals at 6 Invitationals. TSM has never seen or been in an Invitational Grand Finals. Team Empire, though, they've been there, back against the wall, having a hard time. It was Scyther, Shepard, and Joystick. There was no Always, there was no Dan back then. So even for those 2 players, off Dan and Always, this is a first for them. We got rookies here.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
You made it.
There you go.
It fits nice and tight.
We've seen this a couple times. One big change to Echo, if you haven't played recently, is the Yokais are no longer invisible. They're
True.
always able to be spotted. So if you want to put them in nifty spots, guess what? They're far more susceptible to being spotted, especially with the fact that there's an operator designed directly to counter that.
Which operator is that?
I believe it's an operator which is used to describe the sheer amount of numbers that I possess, which is IQ.
Okay. How tall is that number? Look at this nade. That's a high IQ grenade right there from Merc.
And it's an anvil dropped on the head of Scyther. Empire losing out on that first pick again. TSM, this is their map. They want to end the first half up 4-2.
They're showing it as well. Oh, achieved. One more time. There it is. They're showing it again as well because they're looking very comfortable here. I would say a lot more comfortable on these attacks than that of Clubhouse. Always looks to get a kill. He finds it. Even back 4-4. That's the vertical gone from TSM as Achieved is no longer available to break that floor apart.
No sledge for a minute left with an execute to happen. If TSM want to go, they're likely going to go for a freezer drop, in which case, where are you going to put that soft destruction, and where is the coverage going to come out?
Oh, they've barely broken the floor as well. Like, losing Sledge here is actually way bigger than I thought it was. And then there's 2 more Toxic Babes as well. You got the Yokai drones. Team Empire, you gotta hold on tight. If the gunfight goes in favor of TSM, it's bad.
And there's the drop. The flashes go in as well. Adrenal Surge to try and give a bit more staying power to TSM. Merc is unaware that there's one behind Whiskey, and Merc wins the fight. Shepard a bit of a sloppy aim. Nade hits onto Dan, and TSM have blown their way into the bomb site. All it's going to take is Geo to get the diffuser down, but Joystick fires back onto Bolo. 20 seconds left. It's a 2v2 with Geo getting the diffuser down. There goes Joystick. Always finds one, pivots, and Chala, 500 IQ, gets that final pick for his team.
Empire had everything, right? On paper, Empire wins that round, done and dusted, we go next. But TSM finds one pick with a gunplay into a grenade. That's Merc walking down the brown stairs and somehow just beats Shepard that was on the Echo. Shepard had a rough time whiffing a lot of bullets there, and then Bolo had a grenade really hit home. And that opens up the round for TSM. They make their way to the bottom side. Geo, I think, proning through, trying to avoid those holes in the floor. And while he does fall to Joystick eventually, it buys enough time for TSM to push on up and take control of the bomb side. That's the first half done. 4-2 side. TSM gained momentum. We see the replay on your screen right now. The grenade counters Scyther, always trades it back on the vertical. It's very nice. And this gunfight right here, so pivotal. Yokai's off the board. The nade as well for VIP. Look at how Bolo supports Chala on that push. And that's it. The 2v4, it's way too hard for Empire to win.
All right, we got to do the post-mortem on the first half. Nick, we do it all the time.
Do it.
A half recap, by the way. You can see at the top of your score when it comes up, instead of TSM fist bumping each other. I would like to remind you, by the way, you saw Achieved's face. He tweeted that if his team wins the event, he will shave all of the hair off.
Both the beard and...
Yeah, but I think he's going to leave his eyebrows.
I think so.
As somebody who said they would shave the hair off of their head, I was also targeted, and I will take no eyebrowless slander here, okay? The only caster who can shave off their eyebrows is Dez. It's the only one that I will accept. If you are a fan of Overwatch or Valor, maybe Sideshow. That's about it. Those are the two casters. It's a British thing. I don't really get it. Anyway, first half in the books, TSM takes it 4-2 in terms of opening picks. It's also 4-2, but not evenly split by rounds 1. 2 diffusers planted while by TSM back in round number 2 and round number 5. Almost planted for round number 4. I can't remember if they got the kill before the diffuser got planted. Same with, I think it was round number 3, the diffuser was almost down. So it was 2 successful objectives, almost 4. You have to go back and see if the diffuser got planted right as the kill happened.
Yeah, it was like very, very close. I noted down as 3 plants because they basically had it, but you are correct. On that final second, it might have changed out the outcome there. 2 Hibana pellets on each hatch, that's all you need to open up these hatches. In fact, you only need 1, but the minimum you can shoot is 2. That's max value for Hibana's X-Cairo pellets, and that's going to mean that now Empire, they can make their approach through this attack. And we actually see TSM with the castle barricades inside of Freezer, not holding Pixel in a similar fashion that of Empire. I think this Wamai ban is really forcing these teams to not play Pixel because it's not going to work. And this adaptation from TSM is very evidently prepared with the Wamai ban in mind because it was TSM that banned it out. So they've studied this, they talked about it, and now they're doing it.
This has been such a one-sided matchup to this point, and I don't think either you or I really saw that coming. The first map went real tight into overtime because Empire started to find their footing and claw their way back. But now in Kafe, even on the rounds that they've won, I don't think Empire have looked anywhere near as strong as they can. And that part is what I think needs to be highlighted. Their ability. Nobody doubts Empire's ability. But we have seen time and time again, and was referenced by Ace and Dez in their cast earlier against FaZe versus TSM, that teams have just failed to show up for some of the matches here at SI. Empire are coming in against a very hot TSM team. At what point do we start to question if Empire is having these same struggles? I think we give it a round or 2, see what the landscape looks like, because this is Empire's first attack, and there's only 40 seconds left.
That there is an Empire seems to be gotten stuck, but now the flashbang Anchorage comes out. That's the execute as well. They want to go deep because they cannot just plan. Kills does not go in favor of them though, because Bolo finds always. It's an opening pick for TSM, and Bolo on that FMG does good damage.
And he's still got the lineup as well. Shepard flashing in, going for a plant on the wall, but Bolo looks the wrong way. He gets stopped by a Nitro cell. If Bolo can't do it, then a Sheeved can. Scyther on a nice angle. All of a sudden, Empire finds 2 kills, looking for more. Scyther is the hero of the round right now. Joystick at the halfway mark. Geo dropping. Can they stop him? There's Scyther down for the count. Achieved can almost get it. No. Joystick has 1 HP. Geo, you have to clutch, and you're gonna get it done on the diffuser. A heartbreaking round for Team Empire. 5-2 for TSM.
Put Geo off the support onto the Jaeger and show him, or let him show rather, what he can do. He closes out the round in a crucial 1 versus 1, and he keeps TSM's momentum alive. Speaking of 1vx's, when this series first started, and I don't think it's changed, the only player in this entire lobby who has yet to win a 1 versus X at this event is actually always from Team Empire. So Geo, he adds another one to the board arguably, but always have yet to find a clutch of his own yet in this series, and I'm really keeping my eyes on if the quote-unquote rookie of Team Empire can find something to really show for.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but are we getting a timeout?
I think we are.
It certainly looks like Team Empire, they've hit the brakes. Empire didn't take a timeout in map number 1, Nick, but they're not making that mistake here. They see the light at the end of the tunnel getting farther and farther away. Whew, they want to settle things down.
Geo, look at that. Easy kill for Geo. Tactical timeout coming out from Team Empire. They're going to hit the brakes, as you mentioned. They want to slow down TSM, try and regain some of that momentum because they've lost it. Empire won the first round. Then it was tied up 2-2 because TSM, they came back. And then, well, ever since round 4, Empire has not been in the lead because TSM has been getting the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th round back to back to back. And Team Empire, in the round that we just saw, they didn't really seem to know exactly what they wanted to do. They saw the setup inside of Freezer when they got into Piano. They didn't have a Maverick. They couldn't break apart the wall because those kite claws were down below, so they couldn't clear them out. And then they just said, you know what, let's just try and go for side. They walked on in, Bolo got the opening pick, then they tried planting, and TC4 took care of that. And then after they've lost the first 2 members, then they flood the bomb side. But arguably, if you're Empire, you gotta flood the bomb side to begin with, because you cannot just walk in and expect TSM to not have an answer to your plan. You know, go basement, come up the white stairs as you're pushing through the dining fireplace, and really collapse on that player on bottom white that was Bolo in the smoke. That's your best bet.
A heartbreaking round, as I said, for Empire, and you really got a feel for them after that one. Just TSM's gumption, man. They just never give up. They're always in it. We saw that from Empire when they were on defense. Yeah, Empire only got 2 rounds on that first half defending. But Dan had the cojones to hop out on 3 separate occasions, and it never hurt Empire. That's the craziest thing. He got kills on 2 or 3 of them, and was able to get back in without being punished on all 3, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
That's remarkably good stuff, playing off of that Valkyrie. I do find it very interesting that TSM have not been as reactive. Valkyrie is available. You're not running her. TSM don't want to do that. And that speaks to me that because it was TSM banning the Wamai, they might have been expecting a Valkyrie ban from Empire. Because that's the case, they're just sticking to their own game plan. They don't want to change things up. They're going to go with what they think works. And after that first round, it worked. Plenty of time for them to pick up 2 more rounds and send us to map 3 with TSM up 2-0.
Really interesting here, when Bolo got flashed off Pixel, he actually pushed forward instead of falling back off like you normally would see. And now he's found himself very deep inside Piano on this ticket booth area. And Team Empire, well, they know about this position. The south side window is barricaded with a castle, but Bolo has to try and see if he can stay alive.
Oh, this is such a bad spot for him to be in, especially on Repel. But he's waiting for an open up on the top of that reinforcement. He's under fire from multiple angles, and there you go. Just too many to look at. 90 seconds off of the clock, but Empire finally crack open some of that defense from TSM up in Piano.
Yeah, they've cleared Pixel, they've cleared the utility, they've even killed out Bolo himself. So when you look at it, Team Empire, they successfully did what they had to do, but they got even more value out of it because Bolo chose to aggress. I like that, playing a little bit different, a little bit off pace again, as TSM have been doing so far in this series. But this time around, it punishes them, leaving them in a 5 versus 4, and there's now no C4 either from the side of Bolo. And well, there we go. Merc on the ground now from that grenade. Once again, the numbers are falling from TSM.
He can get back behind the shield, but I don't know if he can be retrieved unless Chala decides, hey, I'll go on in. Nobody swings in his direction. Down goes Merc, and the gunfire pushes him out of his position. Swinging for the fences is achieved. That's kill number 1 for his team. There's 2 more inside of Piano, but could he be giving his life away? Drone spots him. He sees one. A nice shot from Joystick. 3 kills from Joystick, in fact. And oh, Dan with a nice one as well. Chala in a 1v4. The timeout paying dividends as Empire backs up the timeout with a round win and prevents TSM from going to match point.
That's exactly what you want with your timeout, right? If you can take the timeout, so hit the brakes, slow down the momentum, and then gain it yourself as well, that's the best case outcome from Empire. But that was also arguably the easiest one, really. You got the opening pick, you cleared off Pixel, and Bolo walked in towards you. They did a really good job capitalizing, making sure Bolo would not slip away for free. 2 players on that window rappel, 1 person on the hatch, and it just snowballed from there. They injure onto Merc, then the kill onto Merc. A Chief takes the spot, gets a kill, but then gets straight out right after, you see right here. Really well played from Team Empire. Joyce with a nice triple kill, and Dan with a nice shot as well. Now we're getting up to 5-3. As Team Empire slowly getting up on that board. And TSM, they have room for error, right? They can go on different bomb sites, try out different strategies, and see what will stick eventually. And, well, Empire needs 2 more rounds to tie back to a 5-5.
I think when you look at the state of this half, TSM are in very comfortable position. I don't ever count Empire out.
Never.
TSM could be up 6-1. and I'm still not sure that the match is about to be over. Empire are just so strong and so clutch, especially if they can settle themselves down. Now, our expectations coming into this map is that TSM would prevail. That's why they chose it. And if you look at the map pool that we have, it should be TSM equalizing. But it's not. TSM took Clubhouse in a desperate and stunning fashion in 14 rounds and are now better positioned to take map 2. That would force Empire into a spot where they must win their map of Oregon next. Then the hard part, win Villa.
Yep.
TSM's best, one of their better maps, one of their best maps. A good map for Empire too. But then you pull off the reverse sweep by winning Bank. It's not even about map pools at that time. It's really just about how are you going to win 7 rounds, 7 rounds, and 7 rounds? That's an awful lot of siege where your mental might be shot out. Empire are a team that can do it, though.
They are, and I think the one thing that speaks to that is the score around 7-6-6-5-4. They're always so neatly together because it really is a full team effort. And sure, there are some moments like in Clubhouse with Dan, he took a while to really get on that scoreboard, but this time around, it's pretty equal out, whereas in TSM, you got 10-2, 5-9-4. So it's again about that holy trio, if you like, aggressive trio, but Cypher gets aggressive. That's bowl off the board. Speaking of holy trios, now they're down to a duo because just Merc and Achieved standing.
Empire have gotten the opening pick in all 3 of these rounds, and now Chala wants to equalize. You had a read potentially on an outside Valk cam. I'm not sure, but Dan might know that something is coming. Chala very aggressive on that Echo is not ideal, because if you don't win that 50-50, if you don't win that gunfight, you're gone. Your Yokais are going to be spotted eventually, and now your team is in an even more perilous position, down into a 3v5.
Yeah, and you got so much time to work with, 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's even faster than what TSM could do themselves, and this floor is really taking a lot of damage. If Merc is up above, could get a nasty flank, just like it did previously on Bank in an earlier series. I can't believe he's getting away with this again.
And there it is! You talked about it, you willed it into existence, and there's another, but Dan manages to do that without losing a single bit of HP. Merc gone, but at least taking out Always. How crucial that sledge is on a kitchen execute, and Empire will be without one now for the final minute.
It is an important kill, but most of that vertical damage has been done, so now Empire, they just have to act off it and play together. They have the numbers advantage, they got the verticality, they still got a 1 flashbang and 4 grenades to go, or 3 grenades to go now actually, so they can make it happen.
And they need to get this smoke off of this spot, but they will walk now into Freezer and a drop. The moment that one of the moves, Joystick will be there to greet them at the bottom of White Stairs, but Achieved with the shotgun out prevails. This is all the while that Empire are almost in the bomb site, inside a Freezer. An aid goes out. It does not connect. Chala quarterbacking from behind. TSM have ceded most of this bomb site.
The Yokai.
There goes the nade onto Achieved. The Yokai can move into position. All they need to do is get it into the right spot. Shepard is almost completing it, knocked away, 2 seconds to go.
Oh, he
and
gets
Gio can stop it! What a good bit of teamwork by TSM. They're on match point on map 2.
They coordinated that perfectly, right? The Yoga comes in, slows down the plant, and at the right moment, once again, I believe it's Gio who vaults over and finds the 1 kill that matters. We talk about impactless kills and impactful, and Gio, almost each and every single one of his kills in this series has been impactful kills. That's a support player doing a phenomenal job on that supportive role.
We cannot highlight it enough. The way that TSM played that deliberately together. The first one is Achieved on the bottom of White Stairs. If Joystick does not die, then Joystick can stop Gio from going in because there's another set of eyes watching the post plant. It's almost impossible for Gio to get in at that point and shut down Shepard before the diffuser can get planted.
It's so true.
Joystick going, first domino, then the Yokai, then the castle, a thing of beauty from TSM, and a deflating end of the round where Team Empire are now watching match point.
It almost seems like TSM are reading 1 step ahead, having a plan, and then capitalizing. Whereas Team Empire, they're being more reactive. They see a guy, they shoot a guy, they don't really think about the possible consequences, right? Joystick walking up close, getting shotgun from the VIP player of Achieved should never happen, because if your teammates drop the hatch successfully and then walk into the bomb site, you don't have to care about pushing the VIP guy. You can sit all the way back on Garrett's door. If you breach the garage wall, sit all the way outside garage wall itself, hold the angle and wait for the next step. but instead, bit of a desync, miscommunication, a lack of trust. This joystick walks up too far and gets punished. And Gio, we spoke briefly about his impactful kills. On that final attack on basement on Clubhouse, Gio found a kill that saved the round. Gio had a 1 versus 1 earlier, and he won that round as well. And what we just saw in basement was a joint effort of Chala and Gio, the support duo. The Yokai and the Castle, but now it's Merc's turn to get the opening kill once again. Always on this sledge off the board so early.
And that was, again, another sledge pick early on a bomb site that is not on the top floor. That sledge is so critical to pull off and execute on reading, and that's exactly what Empire will not have. Out it goes, and down always goes. Empire, though, they don't want to be too slow on this execute, so they drop Red Hatch. They've droned out most of the top floor, and they know that TSM have fallen off. But TSM are cool as a cucumber at the moment. They just need to wait, let Empire come to them. And if they can do that well, they're in good spot. Hold on a second here. TSM hasn't actually fallen off the entirety. They're still holding on to the portion of the map over by White.
Holding bathroom and stock, but it's just Bolo all alone. And this time he progressed backwards instead of going forward into the guns of Empire. He went back, and this nade, it barely misses. It keeps Bolo alive, and he cannot fall back or stick his ground. But either way, he has no help. Whatever he does, he's all alone. But when you got the opening man advantage, you can risk playing those risky bodies because, well, you still got the 4v4, but achieved with a nice C4. That's gonna punish Empire, and achieved as well from down below. Despite having information, Empire cannot react, but then finds Bolo's head, and now they want to aggress further up. But Cypher, well, what can he get?
Oh, hold on a second here. We need a temperature check on this TSM team. Merc might be able to get one, and there you go! What a performance from Merc! 14 damn kills and 7 damn rounds. TSM take map number 2. They're 1 map away from being SI champions.
Pretty sure TSM has some sort of invincibility cloak because they are in position that seem to be obvious.